y'all, welcome to my channel. Today we're gonna get into the reunion of Put a Ring on It. Before we get started, don't forget to like the video and subscribe to my channel. So now let's get on into it. There's a lot to unpack here because you watch the reunion, and prior, that week prior to the reunion, you Kenneth posting, because he posts a lot. And I don't follow all of them on social media. Charlie posts a lot. So anyway, there's a lot to put together. And then, right after the reunion, interviews and things are happening. And I'm glad they happen because it definitely puts a lot of things into perspective. So, let's get it here. So I saw an interview. I'll start with Shorty. I saw an interview with Shorty. Her name is Crystal, I think. She does the own after show, but she did an interview with Shorty. And sorry, I'm trying to get comfortable, y'all. And then it gave you a little insight into some of the stuff that we were curious about, I think. I never understood why people were so angry at Shorty. I never understood why people tried to make Shorty responsible for the way Kenneth was being portrayed. I think Kenneth, he portrayed himself how he was, and I was very confused by why there was all this, we don't like Shorty type energy, and she's a manipulator, and she's this and she's that. So anyway, I was watching the interview. She kind of gave a little insight on how they met. They had a long distance relationship, and he said he was planning to move to Georgia. I don't know if it was Atlanta, but she did say he was planning to move to Georgia. And in that process, they decided that, as a couple, why not just move in together and make this load a little easier for us to move forward. I think that's probably how people end up in that situation to start with. When you're in a relationship with somebody and you're living over here and they're living over there, and you feel like, well, we're together all the time, we're in this relationship, it only makes sense for us to do this together and make this load lighter on both of us. I do think, though, it's crazy that you would do that in such a short period of time. She said something like 6 months, 4 months, 6 months. I know it wasn't very long before, Kenneth had moved from Louisiana to Shorty's home in Columbus. I wonder if Shorty went to go visit him, though, because I feel like even in a long distance relationship, I was in a long distance relationship before, and not from state to state, but from one city to another, and we had to travel to visit one another. And I was still able to see how he was living in his own space. So I don't know how often Shorty went to go visit this dude, Kenneth, and how he was presenting himself. I feel like if he wasn't living on his own in Georgia, then he wasn't living on his own in Louisiana either. So you never went to his house, and what I'm saying? It just seemed that, that part is missing. Whatever it was that made her make that decision, she went ahead and did that. So we're gonna put that on you, Shorty, because you don't let no nigga come live with you that you don't know. That's a big, and vice versa. People shouldn't be moving in together after only 4 months. That's not smart. Then you end up living with somebody that you don't actually know. But anyway, once he moved there, she found out the type of person he was. He was basically living off of her, not paying bills, being a weirdo, taking pictures of her, being over possessive. I don't know, she found herself in a bad situation. She explained how, restraining orders are difficult to get when a person doesn't have an actual address. If you haven't seen this movie on Netflix this documentary, I guess you would call it, on Netflix, called The World's Worst Roommates, you will see that it's not that easy to get somebody out of your house once you let them move in. And this ain't even somebody that you have a relationship with. So this on that show, like, people was moving in the house, like, and just taking over your shit, and you couldn't do nothing about it. So that's another reason why I guess you want to be careful about letting somebody move in. I had no idea that Shorty had a son. So that's new information to me. I'm glad to know that he was older and not like a little kid, because I would hate to have um, Kenneth or any crazy person moving in the house with your child, but she has a son, he's college age. She said that Kenneth doesn't actually have a relationship with his child. That doesn't surprise me. He definitely doesn't seem like he's going to see his kid on weekends or holidays or any of those things. He probably see that baby when the mama bring it over to his mama's house, because he seems like that type of guy. And I'm gonna put that on Shorty too. Like, I don't know what he was showing you, because we have seen nothing from Kenneth that showed us anything other than what he is. Everything you say he is, that's how he represents himself. So I don't know, like, what kind of hoodoo charm that Kenneth was putting on you that made you interested in him enough to want to move him in. That being said, once you did that, you have every right to then exit him from your life. And he is crazy because he refused to exit, and nobody should be in that position. So I'm not understanding why people don't understand that just because Shorty took a shot at this dude that's not on her level. And let's stop acting like what she said was so completely out of line. Kenneth is not on her level. That does not mean she thinks she's better than him. That means they are not moving in the same lane in life. Now, if Kenneth has an issue with that, that's on him. If he wants to level up, then he should level the fuck up and stop blaming it on Shorty. When you saying stupid stuff like, I was so mesmerized by you and that's why I sacrificed myself to come live in your house, you sound like a damn fool. So let's get back to how Kenneth's behavior and the way Kenneth looked to the public is Shorty's fault, because that's 100% not, that's false. False, false, false. Anyway. I just, I feel like I needed to say I'm not sure why people think that, Shorty is such a bad guy, because I don't find her to be a bad guy. I think there's plenty of women out here, raise your hand, if you have dated some guy that you knew was probably not, moving in your same lane or at your level, if that's how you want to say it, but you did it anyway. Because he sparked something in you that you weren't getting, from a previous relationship, or what have you. I think a lot of times as women, we move in a place that's emotional and, feeling needs. And maybe, this nigga was feeling some needs and then he wasn't. So I'm just saying, Shorty is a very small person. And I'm gonna leave it at that. And let's don't act like her size doesn't factor into her self-esteem. And now here she is with this tall 6-foot man, that's showing interest in her. So I can understand as a woman how she was moving emotionally in a town where she by herself. And, I'm not saying it's right. I'm just saying, why, for everybody that's out there judging Shorty on why she decided to hook up with this dude in the first place, has also somewhere a past relationship that you like, what the heck was I thinking? That's all I'm saying. It just didn't turn into you couldn't get rid of the nigga because he wouldn't leave your house. That's the difference. So anyway, so that all happened like, right after the reunion, because everybody started talking. Milan started talking too, but we'll get into that as we get into this. Start with the looks. I think everybody looks pretty. Shay definitely looks beautiful. Shay and Alfonso look good together. She had on a very pageant style trumpet form-fitting dress with ruffles on ruffles on ruffles at the bottom. And it was the dramatic and extra and all of that. Only criticism of that is it doesn't really look good sitting down. And the show is of her sitting down. So for the most part, she looked like she was sitting in a bed of ruffles. She looked cute from the cleavage up though. Makeup on point, hair on point. I really like those earrings. She had on some big, like very over the top earrings, and it was enough over the top already. She didn't really need all of that. Fonzo, he, had on all black, little bling, all the jewelry and everything. They're a good looking couple. Shorty, I'll say this. Shorty has like this very beautiful complexion, and her skin, I mean, she got beautiful skin, beautiful complexion, and I think the tone on that dress, like the jewel tones on her are really nice. That's all I can say good about that dress though, because it was like fabric on fabric on fabric on fabric. I don't know what even the dress, I don't know what the shape of the dress is. I don't know what it's supposed to look like. I feel like if she stands up in it, she's gonna fall in it in a big pile of satin, and we're not gonna know how to find her. Her hair is, I don't know, I've seen it look better. Shorty has pretty hair. This is just, like I said, it's a pretty color on her. But I mean, she's a pretty lady, so it's hard for her not to look pretty. She just shows up that way. Charlena and Otis. Charlena looks beautiful. She's, one of those hot pregnant moms. So she has on a very delicately embellished sheer, illusion dress. She looks beautiful. Otis, on the other hand, looks like a busted ass Easter egg because he got a tie that's one shade of violet purple. Then there's a handkerchief that's another shade of purple, and a lavender shirt, and a, I don't know, pinkish lavender suit, and some blue lavender flavor socks with some he just fell in a whole bucket of purple, and not all of that shit is necessarily, friendly with one another. So he was, like I said, looks like a busted ass Easter egg. Kenneth. Well, Kenneth looks like he came from the barbershop and sat on the sofa because he's been up all night with thoughts of what he may or may not do to Shorty once he gets his hands on her. He's nuts. So he got on the blue shirt and another blue shirt and some blue pants and some blue shoes. Did him and Otis go shopping together, but not at the same store? They went to the mall together, but they were definitely not shopping in the same store. Anyway, Kenneth, he didn't dress for the occasion. I don't think he knows where he was going. So, what's her name? Dr. Nicole in Egypt, the host. Huh? What's the ladies in Atlanta, Delta Burke and them? Southern women. That's what they look like. They look like a couple of Southern women sitting in big chairs. So that's all I have to say about that. Anyway, let's get started with Shay and Alfonso. Shay and Alfonso, I've learned everything they needed to learn. Basically, that's where the show starts. Everybody sits there and acknowledges that they have learned everything that they needed to learn in the process I don't know what week this happened on. I feel like everybody got enlightened like between the final episode and the reunion, except for, Shorty and Kenneth. They still, they still on the same trajectory they were on when we left them away from each other. At least they're being honest, because everybody else is sitting up here on bullshit like they have like seen the light. It's like Carol Ann showed through the little bright light at the end of the tunnel, and now everybody knows everything they need to know about everything. So Shay asked Egypt, Egypt asked Shay, first thing out the gate, why she used the term spouse. So of all the things that Egypt could think of to ask Shay, she wants to know why she decided to use the term spouse. She used the term spouse because she has laid claim to a man that she has not actually got papers on. She tried it once, it did not work out. And so now she's here trying it again. So she says that it's because they have financially tied together, they live together, and Fonzo says they have businesses together. And that does definitely make them connected to one another, in business with one another, but not spouses. Spouses is defined as a husband or a wife, period. That's all. So Shay, if you're not a wife, that means you're not a spouse. You're a roommate, you're a business partner, and y'all like each other, so you smash. Anyway, Shay said they separated at some point during the show. Some point after the show. So things were not just peachy. And even though they learned everything that they needed to learn, they also took a break because she found out the truth. He went and wanted to have a clean slate, and she couldn't handle it. So she, moved out, I guess. I don't know where she moved to, but she moved out of broke up with him. And he wanted her back so bad that he did all the work that he had learned in counseling. He came back with a plan and talked her back into his life. And so we're moving forward, full steam ahead with, everything, that we plan to do. The big over the top wedding and all. Fonzo said, he came to this conclusion because he continued to get therapy. I don't know if these people are actually doing what they're supposed to do in this process or just saying what they need to say to seem like they're doing the work. At the end of the day, they still plan on getting married, and I'm sure his pockets didn't, hurt. I'm sure that lifestyle that Shay is living over there has something to do with, and I'm not judging her. I ain't saying she a gold digger. I'm just saying she got a standard of how, she wants to live, and Fonzo is providing that for her. So I'm guessing that absolutely played into whatever plan he came up with when he came through. I don't know what he could have told her that would make him want to move out, make her want to move out. Was it that he was still with that baby mama longer than he said he was? Like, did you find out that date? Like, I feel like whatever information she got that made her want to move out was clearly unnecessary because she already knew. You already know he's a playboy out here in these streets, and you already knew he was still dealing with his baby mama, because if he wasn't, she would have been so passionate about whatever y'all are. Not even want to say passionate. Wouldn't have been so much tension over there. So anyway, they figured it out, and they love each other, and that's that. She's spending holidays with his mother, and they speak on a regular basis. And Fonzo says everything is good in the hood with his baby's mother. And Shay just sat there and kind of nodded and smiled. But I would think that it's probably best that they say very little about her. If they're in a place where they can at least be cordial, she already said that she was gonna need time to heal. So if she's still in her process of healing, just leave her name out of anything that y'all are doing publicly or otherwise. So we flash back to their dates, and they show the scene where Shay and Miss Detroit got in a fight in the restaurant, and the whole Shay almost getting busted upside the head with a plate. And this is why I feel like when Shay sits up there all poised in her pageant dress, reciting all of the, things that she learned and notes that she taken from her sessions with Dr. Nicole, that's when I know she's on bullshit. Because anybody who snaps and reacts the way Shay reacted to this lady is gonna need a lot more therapy. And I find it funny how she's still sitting up there acting like Alfonso had all the work to do and she was waiting on him to correct himself and his ways, before she was gonna allow him to be, a part of her perfect life. But when she walked in that restaurant, when they walked in that restaurant and sat down at that table, and Fonso did not speak to her, this lady said, now you always want to speak to her. So she was sitting there, always want to speak to her. She was sitting there basically speaking on your behalf, and you snapped on her. And then she had, felt the need to defend herself. That's, when the whole plate came into the situation. But, I was just like, dang, all she said was just make sure you speak to your girl. Like, that's not nice. She's speaking on your behalf. And you're like, bitch, what? What are you mad at her for? You signed up for this. And that's why, I went back on that because Shay is just sitting up there acting like she's just, and I learned that. And so now I'm all better. Her and, I told you, her and Otis is like the same. Miss Detroit, I think her name is Tabor Reed. She didn't come. I don't blame her. I'm gonna come to sit with them and them clowns either. She's probably like, bless y'all, I'm out. Tanisha and Asar are there. I mean, they look nice. She has on a little black dress and he has on, a blazer or thing. So anyway, Shay apologizes to them for her behavior in the restaurant. She apologizes to Sar and Shay Marie, Tay Marie, and to Fonzo. She apologizes, for her behavior, as she should have. But I still think she's full of shit. I think she looked at how people talked about her and thought she should correct that. So I mean, it's corrected, I suppose. Some people don't know you. Miss Detroit is gone on doing her thing. She probably didn't even watch the reunion because she was probably like, these fools. Okay. This little Tanisha is a very cute girl, but she's very annoying. And that little stank attitude that she has takes away from how cute she really is. Girl, she said basically she didn't owe Shay anything when she came in and Shay put her under the little interrogation. She said she thinks that Alfonso is afraid of Shay and that he's afraid of losing her. He's scared of losing her. I don't think that's a problem. I think when you're in a relationship, temptation is always gonna be there. I don't think temptation is something that ever goes away. But if you have somebody in your life that you're afraid of losing, then you're probably afraid to take the risk of losing them. So, I mean, I don't know what's, that means you're gonna be more prone to resist temptation. You're a cute girl, but it's a whole lot of cute girls out there, Miss Tanisha. So I think it's like not, it's not that smart to sit there and think that you're so irresistible, because as cute as you are, like, you're not irresistible. That's all. There's those who resist and those who will not. And if somebody has somebody in their life that's worth losing, then they don't care how cute you are, girl. You're just another crazy girl out here in this world that's, in a very nice package. That's all. Her and Asar spent time in the makeup room, and I guess whatever she was oozing out that was so irresistible, he fell right under the spell of it because they're going out afterwards. So, okay, that's real cute. Maybe it's a love protection, maybe not. I just question, like, are you really that irresistible, or are you just not that hard to get? Maybe y'all do like each other. I'm not saying it's right or it's wrong. I just think that the fact that you and him are going on a date does not prove that you're irresistible. It just proves that you lead with your sexuality. So the message is that he might get lucky if he takes you out to eat. Now that's not saying he will, but he might. Charlene and Otis. Charlene and Otis. Um, they're so cringy. It's just so weird watching them. They set up there, blah, 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 and the baby, and it's a bunch of fake conversation because they're sitting up there too, the same as Shay and Alfonso, acting like they have all the answers to everything. They learned everything. He says something like, "We understand that. I understand now that if she's hurting, then we're hurting because I don't know. We found a heart on the sidewalk to wait his car from Dr. Nicole's office." Otis and Charlene's relationship is a brand. He said that in the beginning when he went on that date with Cherie. He said the relationship is a brand, and that's what it looks like. It looks like these two, all the way down to his purple Easter egg suit and her very so delicately embellished sheer dress. They look like they're working on their brand. I don't know what their brand is. Weirdo, maybe. I'm not sure, but that's how it comes across. It's nothing authentic there. Not from either one of them, to be honest, because the fact that Charlena, hell, fell in love with Otis make me question some of her like good damn sense. Because anyway, I just feel like, how do you fall in love with somebody with no damn emotion? None. Like he's probably got cold hands, cold feet, cold ass heart, if there is one in there. Even the Grinch had a little beat. So the dates show up. It's Chris and Milan. Ciao. Isn't it interesting? Well, I guess we know what it is. We know why. I was gonna say, isn't it interesting that Milan had 2 dates and the other girl had 3 dates, but Milan is the one that he slid into her DMs. So that's why she's here. And Chris, Chris had several dates, like Odell Beckham. He had what about 3 dates? She liked him. So, which is another thing that's funny because they both acting like they really just weren't into these two when they both very much were into both of them. Milan looks cute. And you know what's funny? Milan got on the same dress as Tanisha. Now, I did not notice that at first, but Tanisha has on this little black one-shoulderish thing, and Milan has the same dress, only in like a brown, like coppery, bronzy color. Who wore it best? I don't want to say. They both look pretty. That's all. Egypt asked Chris if she thought he and Charlie had a connection. He said he did think they had a connection. But he also said he understood that she was, still connected to her relationship and she wasn't ready to disconnect from that, basically. We saw it, though. We saw Charlie smile. We saw Charlie giggle. We saw Charlie put on something other than a tank top and some jeans to go on a date. Now, when she was going on a date with that deacon politician, when she was going on a date with that politician, she came with like some jeans on and took her to that fancy little cook place and she came in there with some jeans and a tank top. Then they went to yoga. So there was no reason for them to get dressed up for yoga because they had on workout clothes. But she went to soccer with the first boy She wore workout clothes, so she never did even bother to get dressed. And when she went out with Chris, though, she found out those DMs. She went out with Chris. She put that dress on, and yeah, and she liked them too. I'm just saying. Otis said he wasn't worried about Chris. Lies. I'm not. Lies. Uh, You know what's funny is Charlie was playing the whole time. Like she liked Chris, but she knew she was pregnant. So when did she know she was pregnant? Because at some point during this whole process, Charlie found out she was pregnant, but she kept playing along with the game. But y'all are mad at Shorty for, I don't know, trying to get rid of a crazy stalker ass boyfriend. We mad at her though, but Charlie over here playing like she trying to leave her relationship when she knows the whole time they over here getting ready to have a baby, so they know they're gonna get married. Or to say, I don't know, see no connections, not at all. Okay. If you say so. So now we're gonna talk about Milan and Otis's date. And Egypt implied like how they could tell early on that they were into each other. And Milan was like, is that what you could tell? And Egypt is like, well, yeah, am I misreading it? And Milan was like, I mean, I feel like he was more into me than I was into him. Charlie rolled her eyes like she was so insulted by that comment. Milan said Otis was in her DMs as soon as she got home from the date that night. She also said, and this, so, okay, so Milan, after this show aired, put out her text, the DMs that Egypt and them wouldn't let her read, during the show. She went ahead and put them out. So, this whole weekend, like I told you, it's been a lot to unravel. So you got Kenneth and Shorty over here. Well, Shorty doing interviews over here. And then Milan pops up with, who's she with? Little Black Book. That's where I seen her. She pops up with Little Black Book and she's talking about the whole process and what happened with Otis. So let's slide over there for a minute. So apparently, Milan said when she met up with him at the horseback riding, she said she didn't feel like that date went well. He was very closed off and weird like he always is. And she said she was trying to do everything she knew how to do to kind of break through the ice, and he was cold like the psycho he is. So she left there feeling like she failed and she wasn't going to get a second date. Now, let's be clear. This is a TV show, right? And everybody has their own agenda. So apparently her agenda was to get some exposure, along with, she said coming out of a bad relationship and, why not try something new? So that's where she's at with it. So she left there feeling like the date sucked. However, this one calls her saying stuff like too bad the cameras were there. And basically trying to coax her into, talking nasty with him on the phone, which she did not do. And she said, he did. He said he wished he could she tell? How did he put it? He kept putting things in a way that would make her come across thirsty, I guess, if she answered the question, which is super crazy. It's almost like he was trying to get her to answer questions that would hurt Charlie's feelings. Like he's something else. Anyway, he said something like, could you tell how bad I wanted to kiss your juicy lips? And she said something like, really? No, I couldn't tell. Like her responses were very much like, not like, bitch, what? But, just very cut and dry. So the text go on and on, like, good morning, hey girl, hey DJ. Like he was been reaching out to her this whole time and she's responding. She said because she was trying to get to the second date so she can get more exposure. but she also thought he was creepy. We think he's creepy too. We don't know why Charlie doesn't think of him as creepy, but we all think he's creepy. So when she was explaining what had happened, it all makes sense. They were supposed to meet up. Um, it's all there, like go on and on. It was all there laid out. Text messages and everything. So why Charlie didn't want to see it, maybe she's one of those like Tisha Scott. Like if I don't see it, then it didn't happen. At the end of the day, it did happen, and he's nuts. And him sitting up there like all stoic saying, we don't know what this woman is talking about. It was really kind of scary. It was unfortunate, seeing her get all bent out of shape because she was mad, but I get where she was coming from. Charlie says she read the DMs. Well, Charlie sitting up there lying. She said, she read the DMs and she said you couldn't even hold a conversation. This is all her being mad because Milan said, I'm not into Otis. Ain't nobody checking for Otis. He was trying to get with me. That had Charlie so bothered. So, now she wants to insult Milan. You're boring. You couldn't hold a conversation on the first date. Egypt said, how do you know? Charlie said, because I saw it. And she said her Otis spoke about it. I saw their date too. And I don't know what Charlie was saying, but I saw Otis calculating on how he was going to try to go see this girl perform. She invited him to the show, and he said that's going to be tricky. Another thing she said, she saw the DMs, she saw them as they were coming in. And I want to know, how does she see the DMs as they were coming in? Because she didn't find out about the DMs until at that session with Dr. Nicole, where Otis wanted to put her on blast for, I don't even remember, getting flowers from that other nigga. He was holding on to whatever it is. She's been out of shape a little bit about Milan because she knows Milan is his type, because her and Milan are very similar, and it is what it is. She has a very strong opinion about Milan, considering she doesn't know nothing about her. She's just angry based on what her man Otis said. Milan was reading the text and saying, the stuff about the juicy lips and all of that. And Otis over here talking about, I don't even talk like that. And Charlie is bent. She protected him to no end. And no matter what Otis says, she's defending him so hard now to the point where she just lying. Because we know you did not see the DMs coming in. That's not what happened. You arguing on his behalf, and he's sitting there with no emotion, like he always has no emotion. You know what Otis reminds me of? I've seen this Lifetime movie where this lady was married to this really handsome guy, and he would get out of bed like really early in the morning, 4 o'clock in the morning, and go jogging. And while he was out supposedly jogging, he was breaking into women's homes and assaulting them. I don't know if I should say assaulting. He was doing bad things and then going back home. And I don't know, his wife seemed like she was one of those people who felt like, if I don't see it, then it didn't happen. So I'm gonna stand by him. That's how Charlie is making me feel. Otis seems like the type of person that sneaks out in the middle of the night to go be horrific and then come back home. And Charlie pretend like she's not seeing what's going on around her. Egypt dropped the ball on this one. I felt like she was maybe trying to protect Charlie because she's pregnant, but Charlie was over there, said she good, she wasn't worried about it, but it seems like she didn't really allow Milan to put him on blast the way she could have. She could have looked at the text messages herself, but I mean, I'm guessing she's gonna pretend like she's above it. So we're gonna just be like, you tried, girl. It was annoying. Her and Egypt and Dr. Nicole, for some reason, annoyed the hell out of me. I don't know where they're coming from, but it's from a very weird place. And Otis sat up there. She's like, Otis, do you have anything to say? And he was like, yes, I just want to say I'm enjoying my relationship and that we're so much in love and I'm glad to be here and engaged. And it was like he was mocking them, both of them. He was mocking Milan because it was like you brought all that evidence and it didn't even work. And he's mocking Charlie because she knows she don't believe any of what he's saying, but she goes sit there and ride with him anyway. He had that same look on his face when he was sitting there eating that salmon and watching her cry at the table. The DM said the whole thing, girl. He out here, he did it, but focus on that baby, I suppose. It's a boy, by the way. Congratulations. So Kenneth is Shorty and all this foolishness. They flash back to Kenneth doing cartwheels in the middle of the floor and all of that nonsense. And then Egypt asked them, where do they stand now? They stand very separate, one at one end of the room and the other at the other end of the room. Egypt, but okay. So Shorty said they haven't spoken since the show ended. She said for the first 4 months after the show ended, he called her every single day and she had to change her phone number. And after that, he was emailing her. Still to this day, he's emailing her. And Egypt asked, like, so what was he saying in emails? And he's saying stuff like, I'm downstairs. Kenneth, of course, is interjecting, girl, stop. You lying. Being a hot mess over there looking a damn fool. You're gonna stop that effing lying right now. She's not lying. Kenneth, when you send an email, there's a record of it. I'm quite sure she still has it in her little, folder that says crazy nigga. He said that Shorty is a manipulating opportunist. Is she? Where did he get that from? Manipulating opportunist. He got that from the internet. I'm sure it was a lot of Shorty haters out there saying that, so he jumped on that bandwagon. What was the opportunity that surely she didn't get the opportunity from you because without Shorty you would be on the show. So he starts sweating bullets and just dripping and pouring. And he said when he met Shorty, she was only making $25,000 an hour. She was driving a busted ass little car. She had a small apartment in Columbus, Georgia, and she begged him to come stay with her and go half on the bill. He said she only had 4 little leg quarters in the freezer and they was frostbitten. That's all she had. I mean, I guess he was mad when he got there. He had to buy groceries. He didn't even have grocery money when he got there. He said he had to make a sacrifice to upload his life. And he did it all because he was just so weak for her and drawn to her and attracted to her, and he lost himself. Now he's saying all of this ridiculousness, and Egypt is sitting up there looking at him like with these very sympathetic eyes, like, did she just hear what he just said? He just said he sacrificed his life to come stay with Shorty, to pay 50-50, and then he did it all because he was so drawn to her and he gave and he lost himself. You sympathize with that, Egypt? That don't sound like bullshit to you. Okay. Shorty said she never said Kenneth was broke, and Egypt said you pretty much it comes in the way you say things, and you basically implied that Kenneth is not a quality individual. well, Kenneth is not a quality individual if he tried to steal money out of her bank account. If he's taking photos and sending them to himself of her credit cards on the front and back. And she brought that up too in her interview. She said when he had her phone all that time, he was in there for hours. He was trying to play like he was mad about the whole Hollywood situation, but he had scrolled through a conversation that she had with her son. And I guess her son was supposed to purchase plane tickets, so he sent himself pictures of her front and back of her credit card. I forget what was the other thing, but it's just strange, though, that to me, this makes him sound like a not quality individual. Then not anything Shorty did. That what he did was like some not quality individual type shit, Egypt. I guess at some point he had her banking information and he had tried to cash app her, cash app himself the money back that he gave her from when. So I guess anytime they had a disagreement or he got mad with her, he would want to try to get his money back for things that he paid for. Is that the type of thing that a quality individual does? If your man take you out to eat on Tuesday and then Wednesday he asks you to borrow $50, the same $50 he spent on dinner the day before, is that the stuff quality individuals do, Egypt? I'm just asking because I'm so confused by your point of view. Then she looked at Shorty after she's trying to explain the stuff that he did to her, and she looks at Shorty and says, "But you stayed." Shorty said she stayed because she felt like she couldn't leave without consequence. Now, that's very sad to me. When I look at Shorty, and we call her Shorty, and that sounds real cute and everything, but Shorty is a teensy tiny person. I reiterate that just because I'm not a teensy tiny person, but I feel like as it relates to my partner, he's stronger than me. So I can't imagine how I would feel if I was 4'10", like just like any little thing. And so now you're dealing with somebody that you want out of your life and he won't leave. She said when he took her phone, he just took it from her. What was she gonna do to get her shit back? Even that kind of thing is extremely intimidating. I don't care what you say. So when a woman says to you, I felt like if I tried to leave, it wouldn't be without consequence. And you can only find sympathy for this clown that's saying she beat me down and told me I was not in her league. And, it's all because I was so sprung over her. Shorty says she came on the show to get rid of Kenneth. Basically, they asked her, she said the premise of the show is to put a ring on it or walk away. And Egypt said, it sounds like you already had your mind made up. And Shorty said, I did. And Kenneth and Egypt sat there aghast, like they had no idea that this is what it was. And Kenneth, I don't know why you were such aghast, because I heard her tell you that from the very beginning, from day one, when you sat next to her with your big self hovering all over her chair as if she was your little Polly Pocket and you was gonna take her home if she wanted to go with you or not. She been said that, but today you're shocked. Because you thought you were coming there to get married? That's what you thought? No, you didn't. Or maybe you did. Maybe you thought you had intimidated her that much that she just gonna break her down and force her to go ahead and say, at the end of this all, we're gonna get married. Because, you're not that bright, so it wouldn't surprise me if you thought that. He just said, then why come on the show? And Kenneth said, because she's a clout chaser. What clout is she chasing? What clout is she getting from doing any of this? Shit, nobody even likes her. She didn't even do. Y'all literally mad at Shorty for wanting to get herself out of an abusive relationship by any means necessary. Shorty said she did it because she wanted him to get help and to open his mind up to dating other people. Like maybe if he likes someone else, then he will leave me alone. She just wants him to leave her alone. Leave me alone. Nobody, why are you calling somebody every damn day for who won't answer the phone and talk to you? Every day for 4 months? Egypt, you don't think that's strange? Because I think that's strange. Kenneth said, why every time we break up, you be calling me for the D? I think maybe a long time ago, Kenneth, that might have happened. I don't think she's still calling me for the D, bro. I think that's some shit you saw on the internet too. Because everybody was out there, it must be the D, must be the D. That wasn't a compliment necessarily. That's what I heard everybody saying. I think not. Probably not. Kenneth said she begged him to come on the show. She said that she asked you to come on the show. I'm not sure that she had to beg you though, because you wants to be on the show. This is your 15. This is it. You did every damn thing you could do to run it. You ran them 15 minutes, bro. Kenneth said he felt sabotaged and bamboozled. He said she put that thing on him and wooed him in. And again, Egypt looking at him with puppy dog eyes. She looked at Shorty after he spewed out that foolishness and said, if you knew you were if you knew you were done with him, why did you bring him on the show to humiliate him? I missed that part. What was the part where she did? What did she do to humiliate him? Was that the part where she forced him to do a cartwheel in the middle of the room like a fool? Did she tell, that was her? Or she the one to tell him that, when you're talking of a plan, tell me how bad you want to look into my pretty eyes. Like, I'm not sure what she did to humiliate him, Egypt. Shorty says she should be able to break up with someone without bringing them on a TV show. She just wanted him to stop stalking her. So finally, Egypt then turns to Kenneth and was like, you have to leave her alone. You have to let this go. And he was like, I mean, I have. I'm done and I'm blessed. He's not done. He's still not done. He's still posting stuff on his YouTube channel that he, feels like is unflattering, and he knows that she doesn't want them there. So he's not done. He just knows that, I guess at this point, because she did check him on the show, anything he does now at this point is not going to be a good look for him. But I don't even think he's smart enough to know, I think the whole sending out porn to people's job, that's illegal. He definitely doesn't want to be any parts of that. But we know that he's capable of that too. So I'm proud of Shorty. I'm glad she found this outlet to get rid of him, if that's what it was. And I think she should definitely get some type of counseling to help her through making situations. She got a grown son now, but that means she's all by herself. So she needs to be more discreet and allowing people that far into her space. And yeah, she needs to be in a secure building with security and stuff. Can't nobody just knock on her door. So their dates come out. It's Hollywood and Tavi and that girl Myesha. So Hollywood looks nice. He got on a red suit jacket. He's very much more tamed down than what he normally looks like. Tavi, Tavi looked nice. He got on a little, jacket situation. These guys always look nice though on their date. Tavi's blue suit. Now he did blue, but whoever like helped him with his blue, or if he just much better at it than these other two. But he's got a kind of somewhat monochromatic look. He even got tennis shoes on, and it's not bad like Kenneth. No flavor ass have a nigga. No, she looked cute or whatever. Like I liked her hair. Her dress was interesting, I suppose. Isn't it interesting that her and Shorty have the same type of embellishment and around the neck and stuff? They got similar tastes in clothes and in men, I suppose. Anyway, Hollywood is out doing his thing. Um, they talk about him and about Kenneth throwing that necklace out. That's neither here nor there. Tavi said him and Shorty never really hooked up. We never thought that they would. They two nice people, but I never thought I didn't see them being a thing. Could have been no. Tavi is a little hottie. He cute. He wouldn't be my typical type, but his personality definitely, See, this is the thing. Okay, what's her name? Tanisha over there, very cute girl with this funky like thing that's coming across with her. It's conceit, I'm so like you're so can't resist this, that thing. But it takes away from her beauty. Tavi over here, he all right, like he's not ugly by any means, but he's a decent looking guy, and then his personality makes him up like then you start like, oh, he cute. Like just based on the way he carries himself. So that thing that comes from within definitely affects how you see people, from the outside. What they say, beauty is in the eye of the beholder. It is. It definitely makes a difference. Maisha, she asked, like, I guess they flashed back to that whole, may the better woman win thing. So Maisha says she was just kind of joking when she said that, and she didn't know the inside story. Had she known what they were going through for real, she wouldn't have said that. She said her and Kenneth connected as Gemini, so she feels like that Kenneth is the male version of her, and she understands him. Agent asked if she saw any like connection with her and Kenneth, and Maisha said, well, Kenneth is in a place right now where he needs to focus and work on himself. But she said he's a good guy and all he needs is a little guidance. Because Shorty was looking like, okay, girl, it's funny. Like, he's a good guy. All he needs is a little guidance. You don't want to like hang around while he's getting fixed in Maisha. No. You don't want to help provide that guidance for Kenneth to help him get to like where he needs to get to. No, you don't want to do that either. You don't. Okay. So then it's a no. Then there's no connection between you and Kenneth. Nobody asked you to try to sing Kenneth's good graces. Kenneth is a psycho that will steal from you and live off of you and won't leave. That's what he is. I don't know what kind of guidance you're talking about, but he needs more than guidance. He needs psychiatric therapy. So here come Egypt, coming for Shorty again. Do you have any criticisms of yourself? Because saying that Kenneth was out of your league was a bit harsh. Egypt, Jews. I hope this was her last time doing, this reunion. I don't even know who will be a better host. I'm just saying, but this was kind of weird. Just somebody else, somebody different, somebody a little more gritty. Like you know what? It's funny because I'm not really into her, but somebody who's gonna go ask questions the way Nicki Minaj did when she went over there and hosted the Potomac reunion. You need somebody, not Nicki Minaj. I'm just saying, you need somebody that's gonna come in there and keep it real, and hold Kenneth accountable for the shit he was doing, and stop blaming Shorty for this grown ass man being a damn fool on national television and saying it's because she humiliated him. You sound crazy. So she invites Dr. Nicole out to, say her last words, blah, blah, blah. I ain't feeling Dr. Nicole either because I feel like, where the hell are you coming from in all of this? Because it seems like you gave Shay a pass. All this lady said was, make sure you speak to her. And the next thing you know, Shayden jumped out of her chair and want to fight. And you never, ever, ever addressed that. You let Shay just skip straight over that and go, yes, ma'am. And I learned my lesson and I'm sorry this time. I'll never do it again. Then you got Otis over here. Pass on Otis. And then you got Shorty and Kenneth, and he's clearly like, I'm gonna call the nigga a bum. He's a whole ass bum. I don't know what kind of work he does, but whatever he does, he's stealing it back. So that's not him contributing to, his own fucking welfare. You gotta pay to sleep, nigga. I don't understand what's the problem. And we over here talking about she offended him by calling him out of her league. But y'all, anyway, so we wrapped up with Dr. Nicole's bullshit. And what do the couples have to say? What are their closing statements? Well, Charlie and Otis don't have a date for their wedding yet. They're going to focus on the baby and their brand of pretending like they're a happy ass family. Shay and Alfonso, well, Shay says she's going to get the wedding first, and she better get that paperwork signed first, because the last time you went to have a wedding, you weren't actually married. So let's try to do things the right way this time. Then you can focus on that baby. So you could be a baby and have a baby over there with the other baby mom. And I think there's more baby moms, and y'all can fall under that whole cult of Alfonso that y'all love so much. Shorty says she's working on herself. I hope she actually does that. And Kenneth said for him, the future is to the top and beyond. He's dropping a film at the end of the year. It's called Candy Lady Baby Generation. If anybody knows what that's about, please tell me, because I can say that shit over and over and over again, and I'm still not going to know what the fuck it is. So on that note, like this video, subscribe to my channel, and I'll see you on the next one. Bye.